Hello and welcome to Bottom Line. At a time when India has launched a massive vaccine push, is hesitancy to get inoculated still a reality in the country and the region? Is vaccine hesitancy a result of lack of awareness, especially in remote corners? Can it be overcome soon? If we speak in the context of Meghalaya, has the state been able to move beyond vaccine hesitancy despite odds? Are those still rejecting the vaccine far and few now, and is the majority now embracing the jabs? To discuss this, I am being joined by Principal Secretary Health Meghalaya, Mr. Sampath Kumar. Also joining me from Shillong is Reverend Edwin Kharkongor, Minister of the Presbyterian Church of India and Secretary of Shillong All Faith Forum. I'm also being joined by Mr. Naba Bhattacharjee, Member State Coivd Consultative Committee, Meghalaya, and John Kharshiing, Chairman of the Grand Council of Chiefs. A very warm welcome to all of you, gentlemen. If I can go to Mr. Sampath Kumar, first, Mr. Sampath Kumar, can we say has Meghalaya, according to you, is there a vaccine hesitancy to an extent in Meghalaya till now, even though it has been proved beyond doubt that the vaccines are 100% safe? And as per your assessment, has Meghalaya been able to overcome that vaccine hesitancy now, Mr. Kumar?
No, actually, this vaccine hesitancy, yes, it was there initially. So what we did was to find out what are the reasons, in fact, what are the underlying reasons for the vaccine hesitancy. We have conducted a study again among the healthcare workers, where there was vaccine hesitancy among the community members. So we have done these two studies. Based on these two studies, what we have come to know is that yes, in fact, the people have some kind of a misinformation. A large number of people have a kind of an information what they are receiving is also confusing them. So we, in fact, what we did was essentially to, engage people, providing that scientific basis of vaccination. But one thing I wanted to tell you, it's a when something new is introduced, especially in societies like us, where we have a large number of indigenous population. So definitely, people would like to, understand, and then look at how this is working. When actually we started, aggressively communicating this one based on this study and calling people, one-on-one basis, especially those who are, having this doubts and, hesitancy. This worked. In fact, many doubts have been clarified because, for example, one of the reasons that was found was, as I said, in addition to lack of that, the confidence on, the vaccines, because they have been hearing different kind of, news from different social media. So that's one reason. But besides that, there are also some other reasons so basically. It took some time to clarify them, and also there are when people also started seeing fellow members taking the vaccine, and when we have published this data about how many especially the COVID related serious cases led to the deaths, and when we analyzed the data, in fact majority of them have not taken vaccine. So people also started understanding the importance of vaccine. Now actually, I think we are now at a stage where there is a lot of demand for vaccine now, and our community COVID management teams are playing a very important role now, in addition to our doctors, and our medical, community, which is continuously, explaining to the people, and we are also actually roping in videos, to explain this process, so that people will understand this, why it is important, and but we are showing the data now. So I think there is a all these
absolutely,
doubts
that's
are being
great
clarified.
news. There is demand for vaccine in Meghalaya. People are accepting, people are going for the jabs. There's a nationwide, of course, massive vaccination push. Mr. Naba Bhattacharjee, of course, member of the state COVID-19 Consultative Committee. How do you gauge the situation right now? Of course, there have been reports of people being reluctant to take the vaccine, not only in Meghalaya, but other parts of the region and the country as well. Do you think things have improved significantly in the last couple of weeks or more? Of course, we have had a lot of awareness campaigns, drives also being run by the government. Do you think enough is being done? And do you think right now, overall, there is more or less vaccine acceptancy as far as Meghalaya is concerned? Mr. Bhattacharjee.
Yeah, you see, vaccine hesitancy is not only endemic to Meghalaya, but it has been world over, and particularly in our country. So Meghalaya also initially had its share of hesitancy, because vaccine hesitancy is a complex and context specific, which emanates from your complacency, your confidence and convenience. So it takes time for people to adjust, and like Mr. Sampath Kumar said, because a lot of unfounded hypotheses and formulas were put forward all over the country and the world, and which the social media provided the tailwind for such unfounded theories to go. And with the social media things, you see, it has also reached to the rural areas. So things are definitely improving, particularly in the 18 to 45 age group, the younger group. But it requires more efforts, which all together in a concerted manner are putting. And you will agree that the vaccine, to create what I term as vaccine influencers, to remove vaccine hesitancy, the approach in the urban areas and the issues in the urban areas may be slightly different from the rural areas or the areas surrounding the cities and towns. This is from the point of view of the population structure and the awareness level.
Absolutely.
And this dissent against vaccine was also created, particularly in this part of the country. So there were a lot of factors which combined, but this has been now being gradually been dispelled, because you see, people ultimately, when it comes to health, has more confidence on doctors and medical experts other than any other forums, including the traditional institution, if I may add.
Absolutely.
And this has helped when the health department, the doctors came forward, because as I said, the confidence level, a familiar face, and then you see in the cities also the wait and watch syndrome that my neighbor has taken or my friend has taken, that has happened to even us.
Absolutely, the wait and watch syndrome.
Has happened.
Wait and watch syndrome, probably at one stage states could have afforded that, but of course the COVID situation, things went bleak, and of course vaccine was the need of the hour. John Kharshiing, what according to you could be the main reasons for this vaccine hesitancy at a time when COVID deaths were shooting not just across the country but also in Meghalaya? We have had over 500 to 600, 700 cases in Shillong, East Khasi Hills itself. There was widespread fear. Despite that, there has been vaccine hesitancy. What do you think is the root cause, has been the root cause for this? Of course, things have improved now, but...
Thank you, Nabrun, for having me. The thing is, as I mentioned earlier, as the other panelists also, from the government and Mr. Naba has mentioned, that any new program, then, I recall earlier, a few years ago, regarding the health insurance scheme, the Meghalaya health card, which is something which government is giving, like, 40-50% of bearing the cost. So even that also, there was a major issue in enrollment. It took a long time in the rural areas. So I feel, I had made a call earlier requesting all the government and the legislators, you see. So a lot of opinion makers, our legislators, leaders, personalities, if they can come in aggressively to create awareness in their own constituencies and things like that, including the traditional heads and all that, that things will come forward. So, government has come out now, with a lot of programs of awareness, and it is beginning to percolate down, right? It's very unfortunate that these deaths have happened, in the sense that, uh, what to say, it is really unfortunate. But then, what has happened. We have to move forward. And today I was very happy with one of the city localities, Mokhar Dorbashnong. One of the elders informed me today that they are personally monitoring, and inquiring as to what is their own village percentage. The Mokhar locality is just next to
these are
the very
great
famous
initiatives.
Yodo.
These are very great initiatives coming up from the traditional heads, from the Dorbashnongs, from the headmen. Reverend Kharkongor, there have been reports, there have been alleged reports from parts of the Northeast. I use the word alleged once again, from parts of the Northeast, where cult leaders, religious leaders, church leaders have been accused of discouraging people from taking the vaccine. A similar allegation had also come to the fore from Meghalaya also just recently, of a particular case that I don't want to make a mention of. But I am certain that 99.9% of the church leaders are not of this view. So how big a role do you think the church, the community leaders, the church leaders can play in ensuring that there is zero vaccine hesitancy in a state, in a community?
Good evening, everyone, for this. I'm grateful that you have invited me to be part of the panel, and my greetings to the other panelists and also to all the viewers this evening. Initially, it could be seen as a hesitancy from the general public, people to take the vaccine. And as in the states in Northeast India, Meghalaya especially, more Christians are there. And it is so unfortunate that one or two negligible people, they convey this message to spread misinformation or incomplete information or wrong information about the vaccine. However, as Mr. Sampath Kumar has said, and Mr. Naba has said, and John has also indicated, now there is a demand for the vaccine, as we all know. The people are coming forward, and the church, the Christian member community, the Christian believers, individuals, and also people of other faiths, the faithfuls belonging to different faith traditions, different faith groups, we all have a role to play, a big role to play. Number one, our faith groups, the church, but in particular the Christian church, can reach out both in the urban area and also in the rural area. The church and the Christian community has a good reach, and it should be able to utilize this tool to reach out to all the public, the citizens of the state, both in the urban and in the rural areas. Another thing which the church can do is the church can help in clarifying all these doubts, all these uncertainties, and give a message of confidence, of hope, so that people will drop this hesitancy, will not hesitate, but will come forward to take the vaccine. Because by taking the vaccine, it has been proven that this is a protection not only for oneself, but a protection for the other, for the neighbors, and also for the younger generation, the generation that is to come. So the church, the Christian church, the faith groups, the faithfuls of all faiths can play a big role to support, to participate with the government, right?
In a state like
by
Meghalaya,
providing the facilities, right?
absolutely, a big role for the church to play, and the church leaders. It's good to see church leaders coming forward, and so also the community leaders. We have to slip into a very, very short break here. Don't go anywhere. It's a short break. A lot more on the other side. Welcome back. You're watching Bottom Line. If I can go to Naba Bhattacharjee in Shillong. Mr. Bhattacharjee, of course, there's also an argument that no one, the authorities, be it the government, be it the authorities, be it the health department, again, we cannot force people to take the vaccine. Of course, the government, the state, the authorities can create awareness, but the individual has his own right. The Constitution guarantees that right and cannot really force anyone to get inoculated. How thin is the line between creating awareness and literally forcing someone? That has been also a topic of discussion in the state of Meghalaya.
Yeah, exactly. I agree to the rights. But again, my invoking or exercising my rights should not be a cause of taking away someone else's or impinging on someone else's rights and life. So that is very important. These people should understand that all has to be responsible. If it was a case of only my life being endangered by not taking the vaccine, it's fine. But me not taking the vaccine, I am putting my family, my friends, with whomever I come into contact, because that is also a right. A person cannot be stopped from meeting someone else or socially or in any other manner. So we are putting others' lives into danger. So there is a dichotomy here, but I think forcible, I understand, but people should also, like, I am not taking the vaccine, but I am putting your Mr. Nabarun's life in danger by meeting him. So that also a part of the whole system, which needs to be understood, because you will appreciate the fact.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you will appreciate the fact that the transition or the journey from vaccine hesitancy to vaccine acceptance is not easy. And there is no fixed formula which one shoe fits all. So this is a trial and error method.
That's a very important.
Meghalaya,
That's a very important, pertinent point that you have made there. Mr. John Kharshiing, again, do you think, see, Meghalaya is a state where the traditional heads enjoy a lot of clout. They have a lot of clout of the community. People look after them, the village elders. Do you think there has been a delayed response also on part of the traditional heads, like in the society, in as far as creating awareness on vaccine is concerned? Do you think that was there initially? Of course, things have picked pace now.
Yeah, the thing is, it was not an easy subject right from the word go, to have somebody, a lay person, to go and explain all these intricacies of, COVID. On the one hand, it is a pandemic, it's a matter of life and death. People talking about rights, I feel they should consider it as a duty to go and complete their duty towards, the community. And I feel I would take an opportunity to, through your platform, to urge the government to, I recall our very, respected Dr. Balajit's aim, the aim of Khairib. During the past, much prior to the Model Code of Conduct, we used to have a lot of conflicts here after the counting of elections. There would be rivalry, a lot of trouble. And primarily because of putting flags on the rooftop. And, opposite groups would, it would get very bad. He issued a letter asking everyone not to anymore put flags on the rooftops. And it was respected by everyone much, much before the moral code of conduct came. So if today the government, I have tried to communicate through, certain friends to, if the health department can approach this aim of Khairib, there are prominent aims who are really respected, and if they can send a communication to all their villages under their territory, it will be very, very helpful,
That's a brilliant idea, of course. That's a very good suggestion there. Reverend Kharkongor, do you think the role of the church in rural Meghalaya is much more when it comes to urban centers as far as creating vaccine acceptancy is concerned?
I'm sure it is, Navrul. I'm sure it is, yes, because the church, as I have said, is present in all the villages, almost all the villages all over the districts of Meghalaya, as is also the case in the region, Northeast India, where the church is in existence. Even in the remote areas, if there is no church, there is a school, a mission school. So the church and also other faith groups who have these centers of education, centers of health, they can convey and certainly mobilize citizens. Because when a church leader speaks a word, or when a school teacher, when a leader of the faith group, respected by the society, respected by the community, if these leaders of faith groups and of the Christian church, when they give an advice or an instruction, the general people tend to obey, to follow. So certainly the church has a role, and also the members of other faith groups who are present in the rural areas, they have a role to play in mobilizing the general public and the urban or the rural public in the areas.
Absolutely, absolutely. Some very good ideas have come out of this conversation, as John Kharshiing also mentioned about how the CMs, the traditional heads, can play a bigger role in creating the vaccine acceptancy. Of course, the Meghalaya Principal Secretary Health also informed us how the demand for vaccine has increased. The vaccination drive in Meghalaya has also picked pace. So we hope vaccine hesitancy is a thing of the past in Meghalaya. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Sampath Kumar, Reverend Kharkongor, Mr. Naba Bhattacharjee, and Mr. John Kharshiing for your valuable inputs. That's a wrap. That's a wrap of Bottom Line tonight.